Welcome back for episode 28 in the Deal or Disaster series, where we look at online listings for pro audio equipment and sound systems and talk about the deals, the system configurations.
Did you hear
and of course, I try to share any memories and stories I have with the gear we see. And thank you to everyone who is helping this series grow and become more of an educational resource by sharing their memories and stories in the comments below. It's really fun, and thanks again. We're straight into the live action here with a powerful Yamaha live stage sound system, amps, processor, EQ, subwoofer, PA, speakers, etc. $2,490 here in Ypsilanti, Michigan. As pictured, as is, see the video, listen with headphones. Perfectly working condition and good cosmetic. Very well taken care of. 2 Yamaha 18-inch subs. There we go. 2 Yamaha dual 15 mids, and 2 Univox 4x10-inch tops. I think those were perched above, there they go, perched above the speakers in that video. Complete sound system ready to rock. Amps, processors, crossovers. Let's have a look there. We've got some sonic maximizer action. We got a multi-com gate compressor from Behringer. We've got a little power distro. No, that's just a, is that a shelf or is that a pull-out keyboard there? A BBE 882 sonic maximizer, 4-channel compressor there. That's the multicom. A dual 15-band DBX. And then we've got a Tascam Antares auto-tune hardware unit. So I believe Tascam got involved. I can't remember if they bought them or it was a licensing deal where they started making the hardware units for them. And if you don't remember the hardware version of auto-tune, this is what it looked like in the Tascam variant anyway. And then in the bottom rack, we've got a Furman, a dual 31-band DBX EQ, a Rain crossover. Those are fine as long as you have the power supply. A lot of those came with a very unusual, like an RJ11 telephone connector style power supply that was a pain if it stopped working. It was very difficult to replace those. You pretty much just had to order another one. And then we've got a pair of Yamaha P3200 amplifiers here. And just reading over here, it looks like the Tascam auto-tune unit and the DBX Dual 15 are not included in this sale. They were never hooked up to the system, just stored in this rack, and are not part of the sale. So subtract that out. And for sale sound system, value is over $3,000. They're claiming sale price $2,900, cash and pickup only in Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, and they've knocked that down further to $2,490. So what do you think for that? Yamaha stuff tends to hold its value pretty well. Are we still buying carpet-covered stacks like this for like bar bands? I've been kind of out of that scene for a long time. I wonder if bar bands or maybe a DJ or something would be into this kind of system. I don't know if anybody's going to really be excited about those Univox speakers, though. Those are kind of a throwaway unless you are into that kind of vintage thing. They don't really fit the rest of this system. And it's a real shame that they're not including all of the rack gear, because I don't think that's worth a terrible amount, especially not the dual 15 band. But let me know in the comments if you think that's a fair deal for $2,490. Oh, and it looks like this listing does also come with what they're calling an amp mixer box, which would be this powered mixer down here. I don't think we have a close-up of that, but it looks like a Yamaha powered mixer as well, possibly. So it's an interesting selection of stuff, but I just don't know if you'd find one buyer that's going to want all of it. They might do better to sell this stuff individually. Who remembers Face Audio? Face Audio, they were around in the 2000s, and they made these amplifiers here. This is an F700TS. They've got an F2000TX, and from what I remember, they were an American-made amplifier company. That's all they did was amplifiers. And I believe they were pretty fairly priced in their day, and they didn't last long. They were out of business just as quickly as they got into business.
Hi, my name is Bretton Hansen. I'm the Director of Operations for Face Audio. We are an exclusive amplifier manufacturer. This is a Class H topology. So very efficient and very powerful amplifier.
So we're looking at a Pro Audio Gear Sound retiring, $5,900, marked down from $6,500 in Irvington, Kentucky. Complete sound rack, face audio amps, hidden information. I'm not sure what that is. Ashley crossover, power conditioner, Behringer 8024 for monitor EQ. Rack works well, includes Allen & Heath GL3300 24-channel console with a case, 2 18-inch subs, and 2 15-inch top boxes, cables and breakout boxes, a 24x8 snake, and 2 12x2 monitors. And unfortunately, they didn't show pictures of any of that stuff. They've just shown pictures of this amp rack. Maybe this is some of the stuff here flanking it, which kind of looks like some DIY homebrew cabinets, but, fair enough. Show a few pictures if that's what you're selling. But unfortunately, all we get is the amp and processing rack with these face audio amplifiers, some speak-on patch panels, the Ashley crossover, and then the aforementioned Behringer digital EQ. Yeah, I just thought that'd be interesting to throw it in and see if anybody remembers Face Audio. They didn't last long, unfortunately, so if you remember anything about their company history or who those folks were and what they went on to do after Face no longer existed, let us know in the comments. It'd be interesting to know a little bit more about their history because what's online is very limited.
This is Channel 3 KYW-TV, Philadelphia.
This is the first time I've seen a Yamaha DM3 for sale on the secondhand Facebook Marketplace market, but this is a whole sound system, an EV Evolve plus Yamaha DM3 mixer for $4,200 out of Nashville. They say, selling our sound system. We've only used this a couple of times at our small venue. It's exactly the sound system I'd buy if I needed a setup for a tour, small venue, or small church setup. I got CG Pro, do they mean Guitar Center, GC Pro pricing on this, and I am pricing it as such with that discount baked in. What's included? 2 EV Evolve 50 linear column arrays, $3,000 retail price they're saying on those. 1 Yamaha DM3 mixer, $1,800 retail. 1 16-channel snake, 16 XLR cables, $4,200 optional. Willing to add 2 QSE floor monitors and 2 SE Electronics mics for an additional $1,000. And this looks like it might be their GC Pro discounted pricing. So yeah, they bought a bunch of cables. They bought a mixer for $1,300. Cool. That little mixer secondhand and a pair of these column speakers along with the snake and a bunch of mic cables. What do you reckon?
This is Channel 4, the #1 station for news.
And another first for Marketplace for me, a Tascam Sonic View 24XP. I feel like I just made a post recently that these had just been released. These are brand new. I haven't even seen one of these in real life, and I'm not sure I know anybody else that has run into them either. At least they haven't told me about it. And we've got a listing here for $4,500. I'm not sure what the Sonic View 24 went for new or goes for new, but I feel like it's kind of in that ballpark. I will read and you can take a look at the photos. Excellent condition, Tascam Sonic View 24 XP digital console with multi-track recording capability installed. That's the IF MTR32 recording card. Purchased for a studio upgrade, but ultimately never integrated into my workflow. The console remained in a smoke-free studio environment and was never used for live gigs or recording sessions. This is an extremely powerful professional console for both live sound and studio recording. Unit functions perfectly and is in near mint condition. I believe them. This thing doesn't look like it's hardly been touched. It's got 24 motorized faders, triple touch screens across the top there, built-in multi-track recording capability, Dante support, professional live sound and studio recording workflow, includes a stylus and a power cable. I decided to stay with my smaller and simpler recording setup, so this console never ended up getting used. Local pickup preferred due to size and weight. That's fair enough. Out of Berwyn, Illinois. So yeah, there you go. Dante built in. They've got the recording card. You got a whole batch of presumably pretty decent mic pre's right on board. Tascam always does a pretty fair job with that. You've got a lamp that you can connect. You got an extra channel for talkback, it looks like. A whole mess of analog XLR outputs, which is great to see instead of all the TRS stuff that you inevitably have to adapt. They've got GPIO on this. There's some unbalanced inputs and outputs for connecting stuff locally. Single power supply, but hey, what are you going to do? And then some control room outputs, even monitor outs on XLR. I like that. So overall, I would personally love to play with one of these. I had a Tascam studio mixer in the past and really got along well with it. I really, really enjoyed that mixer, although I never thought to use it in a live setting. But I'd love to give one of these a shot. It seems like a pretty well-featured console, although I don't love these tiny touchscreens. But if you've had a chance to actually work on one of these, let us know what you think. Is it actually good? Is it usable? Is it fun? Is the workflow usable? That's really my concern, is the workflow on a console of this price, because I know I can get a secondhand Yamaha console or, one of the other big brands that we're all used to, and the workflow will be quick. I don't care if the workflow is unique and I have to learn something or, a different way of working, but I need it to be fast once I do learn that. Whatever the workflow is that they're hoping you use, I just need it to be snappy and quick. And some consoles that are intended for studio settings, just sometimes they really aren't. They're not as fast as you'd want them to be in a live setting. But yeah, let me know what you think of the Sonic View 24, if you've got one or if you've used one, and if you think this is a fair price for one. $4,500.
WPBI TV, Philadelphia.
Here's another turnkey single 18 with dual 15 system, but this time from Peavey. Complete live band PA system, QSC amps, Peavey mains, dual 18 subs, turnkey rig. Yeah, that's funny that they say dual 18 subs, but they have a pair of single 18 subs, right? Complete professional passive live sound system. Everything works and is ready to test. This is a turnkey band PA setup including main, subs, monitors, amps, processing, mixer, snake, rack case, and cables. And it's the snake, honestly, that caught my attention, the way they DIY'd this reel. Check this out. I think there's a closer picture. Yeah, there you go. It's just huge, right? They made this massive circle to wrap the cable around, and then they mounted this snake box to it, it looks like. It looks like that's hard mounted on there. So you'd have to have this big circle sitting somewhere on stage or side stage. That's a pretty interesting approach. And it looks like we've got a pair of Peavey 215 dual 15 mains, a pair of Harbinger, or is that a pair of Harbinger or Harbinger? Is it Harbinger or Harbinger? HX 118S, 18-inch subs, 3 floor monitors. Of course, they're not matched. You get 1 custom and 2 ARM 112H1s. And then there's a Mackie Onyx 1620i Firewire recording mixer. So good luck getting that to work with anything modern on the Firewire side of things. And it looks like this snake is zip tied down with these big industrial zip ties. And that's 16 by 4 on locking TRS returns. We got DBX Dynamics, DBX Crossover, pair of QSC GX5 amps. Nothing wrong with any of that. Looks like a nice clean rack. And there is the Mackie Onyx Firewire mixer. So just as a live mixer, that's fine. No worries at all. That'll get you down the road for a small system, but the Firewire part's going to be a challenge to deal with if you plan on using it to record.
You're watching ABC 7, New York.
This might be a little ambitious. Out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, we've got a Soundcraft MH3 48 channel plus a case plus 2 power supplies and all the cables you need to get out on a gig. But boy, these are hard to sell these days, and $4,550 marked down from $4,784. It's been on the market for 2 months, and they've only knocked it down a couple $100. I wonder if they've had any interest at all. I'm not going to read this description because it's clearly just ChatGPT, AI nonsense. Why they're selling are companies making the full move to digital consoles. Yeah, they need to find this magnificent analog console a new home. It works great, still represents one of the best ways to get premium large format. Like, come on, guys. Like, write your own Facebook post. This is terrible that you're using AI for this nonsense. They're saying it's used in fair condition, which for that price, man, it better be mint. I would certainly take a moment and get some goof off and get the tape residue off it if I was asking close to $5,000 for an analog console. Phantom Power from monitor console. All right? Yeah, like take that off. You're trying to get almost $5,000 for an analog console. Take off your sticky labels and your P-Touch labels. Tidy the thing up a little bit. It's still overpriced, but tidy it up a little bit. Here's some photos. Some better photos. It looks like it's in good condition other than the labels that they've left on it. A little bit scratched up around the back, but that's to be expected. And there it is with the case and the dual power supplies. No rack for those. That's unfortunate for this price. It'd be nice to see those in a small rolling rack and maybe a rack that could also store the cables. Also, those tails on those cables look pretty short, and I wonder where the cables are that go from the power supply to the console, because those are just to get from the wall to the power supply. Again, another reason why it'd be nice to see these in a rack, because they could hold all of the cabling and you'd be able to see it's all there. But there we go, a Soundcraft MH3, 48 channels for $4,500. I think they'll be hanging on to that one for a while unless they get a little more realistic. And honestly, just write a real description. Like, write a description that I might trust came from somebody that actually used the console, because this isn't doing it for me for this price. What do you think, though?